I'm gonna call the meeting to order, and we need approval for the agenda, please.
I will approve the agenda.
Okay.
Second.
Second. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, so moved. All right, the minutes were sent to you prior to the meeting. Have you had time to look those over? Entertain of approval, a motion to approve the minutes?
Motion to approve.
Or have a
Second.
motion? Second. Any discussion? There being none, all in favor?
Aye.
Candace was the second, right?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Now we're down to program and facilities update and discussion. And my understanding is there's going to be a meeting in here right at 3:30, right, Christie?
Yes.
So, we never go way over, but just so that y'all know that we probably need to clear here by 3:15. Okay, Christie, will you give us an update, please, ma'am?
Yes. Shag lessons were successful for the beginner. We did not get enough people for intermediate. We ended up with 12 couples signed up, and they decided to move over to the chapel because of the carpet in the boardroom here and the fact that one of the participants facilitated the move because they're a chapel member. Barktoberfest was a great hit with approximately 25 dogs and 50 people last Friday evening. Some did not have animals and just came to be spectators. So that was a positive event, well received, and will continue next year. Trunk or treat this past Monday night also went well with some adjustments that will be made to times in the future. The Veterans Appreciation Luncheon is this Monday, and the tree lighting is scheduled for November 30th. The deadline for the Veterans Appreciation has passed, but we normally don't cut that off. So we will take some names if people didn't get their sign up in yet. On a little bit broader scope with programs, the Parks and Recreation Joint Conference that is held within the every other year, South Carolina and North Carolina combined, and that's the year for that, will be December 11th through 13th in Wilmington, and I will be presenting during the conference along with two co-presenters on Tuesday morning, December 12th.
What's your topic, Christie?
Grant writing.
Oh, good job.
There will also be a Sandy Paws Dog Parade again this year in December, and the plan is to partner with one of the dog organizations and broaden that event, but we don't have the date yet because I'm still coordinating Santa's availability because the pets get their pictures made with Santa too.
You say you don't know when that is yet.
I don't know when it is yet. We normally do a Saturday in December, but I don't know which one yet. Moving to facilities, the Block Q bid opening is scheduled for this afternoon at 3:30. We had one scheduled peer bid opening, but there were not enough bids, so nothing was done at that meeting. The peer bid opening is scheduled now for November 28th. And we have the bathroom plans for 114 OBE, and handrails are being added there this week.
So,
Back up. Okay.
back up, I thought you said you had plans, or,
We do. It was the plans were considered by the commissioners at a board meeting, and those are now ready for 114 to have the specs go out. So.
oh, okay.
Are those bathrooms, those waterless bathrooms that we discussed?
They are
a
not.
while
They're
ago?
regular bathrooms. But I bring that up because you guys had it in your budget recommendations for bathroom.
Mm-hmm.
And then it went through a process where there was, we were trying to kind of bring the project list down, but those were included as part of this and the Key Bridge Foundation agreement. So they made it into the budget under public restrooms.
Right.
So are those waterless bathrooms,
They're not waterless.
not waterless, tankless?
They're
regular.
regular.
I know regular, but the ones we talked about, are they more expensive than?
The ones
others?
we talked about that were in the plan that said waterless won't work here because they worked on like a septic holding valve system, which we don't have.
Okay, thank you for that.
And when is that happening? I missed the date on
We don't have a date for it to go out yet, but the handrails are being added this week. That's why you see 114 blocked off.
Okay.
Since we met last time, Halsted was completed, and,
Except for lights, there's a lighting issue that has to be addressed down there, but that wasn't something we discussed, it's just something that happened. There was a light failure and lighting has to be replaced, and I'm waiting on that to be installed.
Okay, so what?
It looks good.
Are we having trouble with the basketball court fence again?
It is leaning, and I have asked for our contractor that's worked on that court before to come when he's in Brunswick County again, and I don't have a date yet, but
Okay.
he's supposed to look at it.
Okay.
What's leaning?
The basketball court on the right
Oh,
side,
okay.
the fence.
is that just normal wear and tear, or is there integrity in the way the posts were initially put down?
It happened after the storm,
Okay, okay.
and we made some adjustments to it in-house, but it just needs some extra attention.
We have a hand up, you'll have to address that, Christie.
I just want to say, it's hard to hear, you folks are kind of far
Okay. Better.
away. We're getting by.
Okay,
I'm a little hard of hearing, thank you.
thank you,
Okay.
yeah, thank you. Is there anything else with program or facilities update, any further discussion, anything that's not been mentioned that you want to ask Christie about, or any updates?
This is more of a personnel issue.
Yes.
Did you ever get a candidate for your park maintenance position?
We actually hired someone that started this past Monday.
Great.
We met him.
His name is Sean Waldrop, spelled
Sean.
Waldroup.
Great.
Seems like a nice choice, Christie. And the fact that he was out there working trunk or treat, his, second day of employment,
Yeah.
spoke highly. But I guess maybe that was part of his responsibility. Maybe he didn't have a choice. Okay, anything else? If not, we'll go to move on to,
Let me ask one question about the Christmas tree lighting. Christie, what do you need us to do and what time frame?
I was actually looking at time, and if we can spend a few minutes on that, I'll answer your question, but I wanted to add to that, for discussion. Time frame is entertainment will start at 5. So, since entertainment will start at 5 and people will be there at 5, if you guys could, anybody that can volunteer can plan to be there by, let's say, 4:45. But this year, we've decided that we are going to add a gingerbread creation contest, which the judging will happen there that night. And there's going to be 2 categories. There's going to be an individual category and a business category. So the discussion is if there are any rules that you guys see that you think you may want to have us consider as we walk through it. You don't have to, you can discuss openly now, or you can individually email me something if it pops into your mind of something that you've seen somewhere or that you thought should be incorporated. And we'll consider it before we send out our blast, but that blast will be going out in the next couple of days so that people have time to prepare as they're out in November to start working on it.
having been blessed to serve on one of those judges boards with, age categories should count, but even if it's a 5-year-old, you know who's helping.
Right.
So age categories are null and void,
Yeah,
pretty much.
that's what we were thinking.
If you have perhaps opportunity that maybe they could be brought to the assembly room a day before for the judges to judge them, or are you gonna have them out there in the
We're gonna have it
cold?
popular vote,
Okay, but are you gonna have them bring them to the lighting?
straight to the, and we're
Okay.
gonna have tables for display, and it'll be popular vote by the
public.
Okay, you're not providing kits or saying you've got to do what?
I said, that's wonderful.
Yeah. We don't want to judge
She didn't
you.
want to judge
Yeah,
it.
we don't wanna
In other
judge.
words, we don't want
Judge,
to
we've done
judge.
our fair share on that.
Yeah,
we don't
that's
wanna
true.
Yeah, we paid our dues the other night.
That's
But,
right.
So the kits, are you recommending that they do the starter kits, or is just whatever they want to do, or?
Whatever they want to do. We're thinking about a percentage of it, or the majority of it, because it'll be hard to judge quote-unquote percentages, but it has to be edible.
Has to be, okay.
Okay. All right, great idea.
Yeah, great
Great
idea,
idea.
great idea.
I love that addition.
Can we have them on display somewhere afterwards for those of
That's what I
us
was
that
thinking.
are
But
people
If they
that?
don't get eaten,
Well, I don't think you'd want to eat them
I'm
after,
just
but,
teasing.
but for people to
Eat
enjoy
later.
them at
Yeah.
some point.
I think we'll offer that option if they don't want to take them home that night. Because there could technically be somebody that is a homeowner that's coming into town for the day for the lighting, and they may want to enter. And
Yeah, I
they
get
may
it.
want to take it back with them, but
But it would be fun to
have them.
Did you say it was the 2nd or the 9th?
No, the tree lighting is November
30th.
30th.
November 30th, was that last time?
Let's not put
Wait a minute.
Because
anything
we
else on the
always do
second.
either the first Thursday or Friday after Thanksgiving, and we went with Thursday because we got competition on Friday from
You're
another
coming
town.
out.
Okay,
No,
November
there's not
30th.
anything else on that day.
You're coming to Fayetteville. We're talking about.
So if you guys think of anything else that you
I
want to
think that's a
share,
great idea.
just remember to send it individually and not as part of a group conversation.
Okay.
Right, we know. So speaking of which, ethics training took place 100 years ago, and our boards have changed. Do you redo that every so many years?
I will have to check on that for this board.
'Cause
They're,
we-
like, the Board of Commissioners have to do it,
Every
but
time.
I will have to check on this
I
board.
know that there's a 2-year cycle for a board I serve on at home, that we have to do it and renew it every 2 years. And if you have a break in service, you go out off the board for a year, you have to act like you've never done it before and come back in, so. But it's a lot more laborious than what we had here. Okay, all right.
Have we
enough.
all done it?
We did years ago.
Let's say, have
I
we
did
all-
years ago.
I have done it, you've done it, you've done it, you've done, we've all done it. Gracie hadn't done it, but I think we've all done it, but Gracie.
Okay, are we finished with programs and facilities to move on with beach projects? You wanna,
Yes.
anything else, Christie?
No, I'm just, typing your question about ethics training.
Just look up when you're through typing.
Okay, so for beach projects, I wanted to touch on 3 things. And David has mentioned this before, but we didn't have a estimate from the court on a start time until yesterday. So the AIWW and Lockwood Folly Inlet crossing dredging will come to Holden Beach this winter. We've already forwarded our share of the amount that was for the Ben Widener, because we have to piggyback on that project if we want more sand. So we did our cost share for that. And estimated start date is the end of January, and it will place approximately 100,000 cubic yards of sand on the beach. And about 60,000 of that is estimated to be from the Widener. And then at the last Shallow Draft Inlet meeting, the Corps' schedule for their dredge fleet showed that the Merit is scheduled to be here again December 11th through 23rd, sometime in that time span.
Say those dates again, please.
December 11th through the 23rd. But that is fluid depending on dredge plant needs, so if an emergency comes up, they do shift things. And these first 2 items that I just mentioned go along with the Board of Commissioners' goals of keeping the Lockwood Folly Inlet navigable. And then something that was a special project, you guys remember Michaela, who was the intern this summer? Several years ago, UNCW did a dune vegetation study and indicated a few areas where plants were not growing or vegetation was not growing on the beach. The BOC had soil sampling as one of their evergreen goals and objectives to facilitate a healthy dune system. So her required project, since she was majoring in that in school, was to do soil sampling on the sites that they identified in the plan. And she did identify some salinity issues in the 3 spots. So those 3 spots have been passed along. Her presentation's been passed along to our contractor for dune vegetation, and he's including additional fertilization in those areas with the cost estimates for the vegetation and sand fence this year.
Are they at random locations or any particular concentrated area?
They're at random locations, just where there were a few bare spots. If you weren't driving the beach and paying attention, you would miss them.
Christie, on the local cost share on the Lockwood Folly, is the county still
They do,
the 25% of the local share? Yeah, okay. I was wondering if they were still doing that.
It's backwards. So one of them, they contribute 25%, and one of them, they contribute 50%. And it's backwards as the way it seems like it should be. I don't have their policy in front of me, but I believe that the 50% is if it's just navigation, and the 25% if it's sand on the beach.
I think this is out of order. I think it was number 4 instead of number 5, but since we didn't have a meeting last month, is there anything else we need to know about 796 other than Sailfish? Are there any updates or anything on those 2 projects?
For 796, it was on the commissioner's agenda for last month, and they removed it, so I don't have any updates on that. For Sailfish, we are trying to plan the public information sessions, which is the next thing that's scheduled to happen in that. So there's a public information session where they look at the 2 design proposals, because McGill was supposed to come up with 2 proposals. And the public will give feedback at that session. And then a final proposal will come to you guys, and then it will go to the Board of Commissioners. So right now, based on the calendars of the consultants and room availability, and then finishing up those designs, it would be the end of November, 1st of December, date to be determined.
One more.
For the public, for not at your, I don't foresee you guys seeing it at your December meeting, because the public information session wouldn't be held until the end of November, 1st of December, depending on what date they choose. That we've supplied them a list of, and then they would need time to turn that around to give you a final proposal.
Okay, just so that, we are asked sometimes about the status, because, the airwaves kind of went silent after a little bit of movement. So you'll let us know as soon as the board, for those of us particularly that travel out of town?
Yes, and once a date's picked, we'll send it out to the public they usually prepare some sort of press release to send out to the public when everything's solidified.
Just so that those of us that are out of town can try to block that time to come back, particularly that time of the year. It's a lot going on, right, Grace? And the other thing, 796, painting and all that was finished, so it's just a matter of the commissioners deciding next steps?
Yes,
Okay,
ball's back in their court.
okay. Any questions or concerns on any of the projects that we've with not meeting last month, there could be something that, we haven't discussed in several months?
The ADA walkways and stuff, are they about finished with those? I mean, I've seen some comments about the one, down the 800 block or something, and I just didn't know if they were, as far as the parking and stuff, are they pretty well done with the ramps and stuff?
No, that's a loaded question.
Oh, okay, I'll go,
No.
give me try to unload it.
No, I can tell
ones
you
are we
that
doing?
the best thing to do would be to go back and listen to the update that Tim and I gave at the last board meeting.
Oh, okay,
Because it went through the projects that have kind of been done so far.
okay,
And then if you still have a question, you can contact me, but there's a list of 10 items and we're working through that list.
okay, all right, I'll do that.
And there are some projects that haven't started, like the 800 block, we had to get engineering and stormwater on for the adjacent property owners that when it came time to permitting, we had to meet that requirement. So we said that at the last board meeting. So that one we haven't even started on as far as putting something on the ground.
Okay,
And then Avenue E is the same thing. We just got the site plan approved for both of those at the last board meeting, so nothing's gone on the ground.
okay,
But like, there's been substantial work done at Jordan at 114, so
right.
that, it kind of depends on
Which one
which one you're
Yeah,
talking
yeah,
about,
okay.
if we're,
Okay,
And Christie, it's still difficult for those of us, like, I'm here 4 months out of the year full-time, but it's still difficult when you have a special meeting and/or board meetings when we can't be back in town to hear. It is
Yeah,
very difficult for us to hear the meetings and the conversations, just as this gentleman says, we need to speak in the microphones. I think the board members need to be reminded of that too, because it's just hard to hear.
and I will say that we actually did, and I'm not the AV expert, but I will say that we did a test with somebody that said that they were having that issue. And most of the time it's on their device end. It's something in the device that you have to manipulate the sound with that's different than the volume button. Because this person was actually a former member of this board that asked that question. And we did a test just so we could better understand, and it sometimes falls on that end.
Okay.
So,
Okay,
I
thank
think
you.
it would be nice if if somebody's gonna be walking around,
Yeah, that's,
to me, that's when I have the hardest time, is when they're like, if they're walking back to look at that screen, or walking over here to talk, maybe they had a portable mic or something they could take with them.
and I don't want to like pop y'all on the hand, but we're off the agenda.
okay, we are.
With
are.
that,
Okay.
I
You brought it up.
would suggest though that you could send that in as public comment for the BOC agenda.
Okay.
Okay. Okay, back to the agenda. Anyone else with any questions on beach projects? If not, then we'll move on. We have some gentlemen with us from the public. We will open the floor for public comment.
I'm good, thank you. I'll just ask the town and your committee here, on the sailfish public hearing, between Thanksgiving.
Wait just a minute. It's a public meeting, so it's not like an official public hearing, because that has a different, just to make sure we get that part right, because,
Just at the meeting where you're gonna do the information.
Yep.
And make a presentation of the options. To schedule that between Thanksgiving and Christmas, makes it maybe iffy for a lot of people, and it is important to a lot of people. So we're not looking to push delay anything, but like you consider whether it might be better to do that in January rather than between Thanksgiving and Christmas.
and the only thing I'll say is, and public comment, and we don't have to give an answer back, but the only thing I'll say is that would require talking to McGill if the town decides to go into that direction, because they do have other contracts that they have to, in other towns that they have to fulfill, and they do their workload based on when they're finishing stuff up. So I will have to take that into consideration and just say that was a public comment.
Okay? All right, no other public comments, then I would entertain a motion for adjournment.
I'll make a motion, we adjourn.
Okay? Second?
A second.
Second, all in favor?
Aye.
We're adjourned.